Welcome back, PTL. We're here for UFC Rio. That's in Brazil. If you are unfamiliar with your geography class, shout out to Mr. Vesperman, college professor now, taught me geography back in the day. I'm familiar with the three-letter city. I love Brazil. I cannot wait for this card. I don't know if it's got the fanfare and the name recognition outside of the tippy top, obviously Charles Oliveira. But this is going to be a sneaky good card, I think, with a lot of fun in the atmosphere and a lot of scrappy fights.
Yeah, I think the main card later prelims get to actually some decent quality, some pretty high level quality. I think the lower end card is definitely scrappy is a good way of putting
it. All right, well, a little bit of patting our backs here. Last week, first video back since my daughter was born, and walked away with a respectable 9.7 units. And if you're watching YouTube videos where guys are betting 5, 10, 15, 20 units a week and 9 units is nothing, that's bullshit, first of all. We have a 3-unit max bet. So for making 9.7 units, 3 to 4, 5 if he's Dagestani. If we're making 9.7 units, that is a very, very good turn on our profit. 9.7 units last week. Let's see if we can keep it above 5 this week. I saw the Matrix last week. I'm going to rely on you a little bit here to see if we can Keanu Reeves our way through this card. First fight of the night, we have what I think is going to be a fun fight. We have Luan Lacerda, not Daniel Lacerda, but Luan Lacerda against Simon Oliveira. Both of these guys actually have names that are similar to other fighters, not only in the UFC, but in their division. Vinicius Oliveira comes to mind. They are not the guys they sound like. It's not Daniel Lacerda and Vinicius Oliveira. These are two different, very different people. And the important thing to note with that is these guys are low level. Luan Lacerda is a very submission or bust fighter. He fights on Nova União in Brazil, which is a respectable gym, but he's not much of an offensive fighter. He's very much reliant on the other guy leading the dance, both striking and grappling. He's got good submissions from his back, and he can reverse position once down because it's hard to get back submissions unless your name is Paul Craig. So I do like his grappling and his submission game, but I don't like his ability to get the fight where he needs to get it. Meanwhile, Simon Oliveira, kind of similar in the sense that he doesn't really do anything well, but he is going to be more offensive. He's more of a Muay Thai striker with a half-decent guillotine, primarily to keep the fight standing. So we have more of a striker versus grappler matchup. And what's surprising to me here is the more reactive fighter, the guy who needs to have the fight come to him, is a minus 250. Simon Oliveira, the guy who's going to be more offensive, is a plus 200. And I don't think either guy is very good to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it lends itself to the grappler. I definitely don't like Oliveira's grappling, like you're saying. This fight is very low level. Neither one of these guys, I mean, these guys are at the bottom of the barrel of the UFC bantamweight division, which is arguably one of the deepest divisions in the UFC. Both got finished in the last 2 fights. I think Lacerda might have went to the decision. They're 0-2 in the UFC. They're fighting for their life. I gotta lean the grappler over the striker, but by no means am I laying a minus 250 here in this fight. It's a Lacerda with Palastri the next breakdown for me, or pass, and that's simply to bet.
Yeah, and this is definitely a pass on my card as well. But I do expect the fight to be closer than the odds suggest. But I don't like playing the spread on Oliveira plus 3.5 because I expect there to be a finish live the whole time. So for me, it's dog or pass. Neither guy is very good. Give me the guy that's going to be a little bit more offensive, and I think it's easier for him to find the finish on the feet than it is for Lacerda to get taken down and reverse position. That being said, the one thing in Lacerda's favor, his 2 losses are against Cody Stamann and Damon Blackshear, both of whom I think you and I think are ranked between 10 and 20 in the division in any given moment. So Lacerda's got the better competition. I don't mind him being favored, but 250 is too steep. Dog or pass on the first fight of the night for me. All right, next fight, we have Julia Palastri against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. It's a name that I've learned to pronounce, but a name that I still cannot spell. Julia Palastri is a minus 450, and there's a reason for it. Kowalkiewicz was over the hill 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this one's as simple as you can possibly get it, where you take Palastri. I mean, was she 12 years younger? I really like her. I think I think she's. I wrote down physically strong, good Muay Thai, decent range striking, but can have success in the clinch. Hence, like sort of the Muay Thai background. In the ground game, albeit she got grabbed by Lupi, which is just I'm not faulting her in that regard. Lupi's an incredible wrestler. I like her ground game. I think Pilastri is a really solid fighter in this fight and moving forward. I really trust her as much as you can trust anyone in women's MMA. She is fighting a veteran, but give me the younger fighter. Give me the one that's far more higher upside. One I believe that she's better everywhere the fight will go. You always have to have a little worry about the old man strength or the old vet. But Pilastri all day, like I said, let's start with Pilastri. If you want to get action on the first two fights of the night, parlay that bad boy together, minus 170, 160 maybe. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, Kovacevic, her path to victory, even in her prime, was range striking, being all the way out or all the way in. Range striking with kind of a karate-ish style or all the way in the clinch fight. Pilastri's far better, faster, and more dynamic at range, and I don't think Kovacevic has the strength advantage in the clinch. She might be a little bit difficult to control in the clinch, but she's also not going to be the one doing the controlling. I do, however, think that this fight's going to go the distance, and Pilastri by decision, unfortunately, is a minus 190. Denise Gomes couldn't finish Kovacevic last time out, and Denise Gomes throws fucking heaters. So I expect Pilastri to win a pretty substantial, a pretty wide, easy, clear, smooth, almost sparring-like decision. So unfortunately, I was looking to play this from a single play, not a parlay piece, because 450, there's not a ton of value, but she's a parlay piece only because I'm not going to lay 190 on a prop. I'm just not going to do it. So there's a couple of parlay pieces later in the card that I really like, and we might get a little bit creative here with how we play some stuff. All right, next fight.
Real quick, that minus 190 her by decision is an incredible price to be put in parlays. Yes. I agree full-heartedly that this thing's going to decision. I think Pilastri wins by decision at a far greater clip than the 190 win probability conversion is. That's an incredible price that you're getting. But I agree, you don't want to lay minus 190. You gotta put that in something. But definitely, we're putting that in somewhere.
Next fight we have. I guess you could probably describe our YouTube channel as this fight. The brothers no one cares about. We have Walter Walker, Johnny Walker's brother, and we have Muhammad Usman. My goodness. Okay, who's a bigger disappointment? Muhammad Usman or the third Manning brother?
Oh,
Cooper, whatever the fuck his name was.
I gotta think Muhammad Usman because even though Arch has been very disappointed at Texas, at least Cooper's the offspring coming down south has at least produced Arch Manning. So I gotta think Muhammad Usman is more disappointing.
How does that? Here's the last one: Muhammad Usman or Figgy's brother.
Oh, Figgy's brother. That dude's ass.
Now I got to go one more: Figgy's brother or Herbert Burns, Gilbert Burns' brother.
Oh.
That's a tough
I gotta
call.
go Figgy's brother because at least Herbert Burns apparently had success in grappling. I don't know if that's possible, but I gotta go Figgy's brother is one of the worst flyweights I've ever seen.
All right, Figgy's brother, worst brother in sports that we can think of now. If you have other brothers, put them in the comments. I was not planning on going that direction with our opener, but when you talk brothers, the mind starts spewing here, and the more the tequila comes through the glass, the less my rehearsal script is going to come through the screen. Walter Walker minus 315 against Mo Usman. Everyone's favorite fullback from 1963 is coming back in at a pretty sizable plus number 265.
Yeah, and I mean we touched on it. If you have any semblance of ability to connect dots, Usman's not very good. He's a guy that looks like he's strong and should be able to wrestle, but he's just not very talented. He's extremely stiff on the feet. He throws wide punches. He needs to do what Aspinall said Aspinall would do if he fought Pereira, which is rugby spear somebody. That's what Muhammad Usman should do. And guys should take, actually, going back to the Pereira fight from last week, guys should take a little notice on how to, that works. I can't remember the one guy 3-4 years ago that fought it was a 15-second fight and won. But that blitz works if you can.
Warley Alves against Miguel Baeza.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Fucking steel trap.
That's pretty solid. You got to be able to trust your cardio because if you basically just unload your load, you got to have a nice recoup. You can't wait 30 minutes. You got to have that recoup right away. Don't have that, but some people do. But to be able to do so, that's what Muhammad Usman should do: spear someone. Here in this fight, it's not a. I like Walker. It's not a good matchup for Usman. Walker's had success with submissions. He's the better striker. I expect him to be the better mover of the two, in terms of like footwork, speed. I just think he's better everywhere. The only hesitation potentially is, can Usman just grind against the cage? I definitely don't think so. So I really like Walker. How to bet it? I'm curious where you're going to go with that, because I think you're on the same side, but it's definitely a Walker, and definitely not a dog shot here.
I do have a clear bet, and I agree with everything on the breakdown. I'll add a couple of things. Firstly, if you had to describe Johnny Walker in one word, how would you describe Johnny Walker, the brother?
One word?
One word, two words. Yeah, just a couple adjectives.
Crazy
Toss them out there.
is probably the word.
Okay, perfect. Crazy. I had goofy in my head.
I was thinking like cocaine, semi at crazy.
Yeah.
Mushroom. Did you see him on the? If y'all watching UFC 320, that face up when they panned to him in the crowd, the guy's psychotic. Psychotic is probably the best way of saying it.
Yeah, but the point is he's not reliable. He does stupid shit. Walter Walker is the same blood, same idea. And the reason I bring that up is he has now won 3 fights in a row by heel hook. 3 in a row by heel hook. He keeps rolling for a heel hook. And if anybody in the UFC is going to keep trying to do the goofy submission, it's a Walker brother. So my only worry, the only way I see Mo Usman winning this fight, is I don't think he can outclinch Walker. The only way that I see Mo Usman winning this fight is if Walker rolls for a heel hook and gets hammer fisted, because when you're heel hooking somebody, that being said, Walker's so much longer than Usman. I don't know if Usman can physically reach Walker's face, but I just, in the back of my mind, I see Walker insisting on a heel hook for 4 in a row and something goofy happening because it's a Walker fight. So for me, it's not a parlay piece whatsoever. It's a very easy under 2.5 at a -130. I expect this fight to get to finish in the first 2 rounds. It's probably going to be a Walker submission, and I think that it covers your ass a little bit if Usman does go in there and blitz him and hit him with something crazy. It's probably not going to make my top 5 favorite bets, but I'm going to bet every fight because, again, degenerate, drinking tequila on a Tuesday night is what we do here. That's my personal path to betting this fight.
I don't love Usman's show. I mean, you can't really be durable if you do get caught in a submission, especially like a heel hook. But he's shown the ability to be durable and certainly not the ability to acquire a finish in his own right. So I think it's just a Walker money line parlay with something that you don't like. Once again, if you're trying to bet every fight, you could do a Walker Lacerda parlay, save the Pilastri by decision. You can put those two together and try to get some action on a fight. But this is, for me, now I don't see a ton of value. I don't see a clear path to victory, like I did with Joe Pyfer last week at plus 550. I don't really see a clear path to victory here, one that's worth throwing money on. So it's a parlay piece or pass.
All right. Next fight, we got Lucas Rocha against Stuart Nickel. And Stuart Nickel met the Mexican Brian Kelleher last time out. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Jesus Aguilar. If you've never seen Jesus Aguilar fight, go watch Brian Kelleher and then just give him a little bit more of a tan. And you got Jesus Aguilar. He throws a big old right hand. He's got one hell of a guillotine. And Nickel, despite being a 2-1 favorite, got caught in that guillotine his last time out. So that tells me one of 2 things. Either terrible game planning, because Aguilar's got 2 things, a right hand and a guillotine, or he's not as good of a wrestler as people thought he might be coming into the UFC. Well, his line has come down in this one. He's only a plus 102, and Lucas Rocha is the man that Vegas has favored at a -120.
Yeah, and I think it was 2 fights ago with Rocha. I wrote down that he struggled with wrestling, didn't look great early, and then he had a nice KO finish. I forgot which fight that was. It wasn't last fight because he got submitted by Clayton Carpenter. I remember that one. But Rocha, I was looking to fade him, especially coming into the UFC. Big record, a flash victory, looking to fade him. And I want to continue to do so. I did against Carpenter. I want to continue to do so. Here in this fight, I think you're getting some value on Rocha. I really don't love Stuart Nickel as a fighter. And even though I don't like betting guys that I think lack in the wrestling department, I think it's good buyback value on Rocha. And I think at -130, I was definitely expecting him to be a significantly higher favorite. I mean, I don't want to go crazy. But a 190, 205, that would not have surprised me here in this fight. I think you're getting good value on Rocha, so definitely like him here as a single play.
Yeah, I'm okay with a solid 1 unit play on Rocha. I think he's far more dynamic on the feet. Nickel is fine, nothing special, and I do think Nickel will get a takedown or two. Rocha got taken down by Davi, whatever the fuck his name is, Davi Bittencourt, 5 times. Bittencourt shot 14 in round 1. I mean, fucking Marab out there. Holy crap! By the way, him and Sandhagen, unbelievable. Anyways, I mean, I think that Nickel will get a takedown or two. I don't think he's going to do anything with it, and I don't think he's going to be able to hold Rocha down. Rocha's got some athleticism and some dynamicism to his game. Even if he's held for 2-3 minutes, there's not any damage that's going to take place. I don't trust Nickel to advance position or to deal damage or to threaten with submission. He's going to have to lay on him for 12 of the 15 minutes to win this fight, and I just don't want to back a guy that has such a narrow path to victory. Give me the guy who can get a knockout. We've seen that out of drawing a blank on his name now, out of Rocha before. And if he just keeps the fight standing, he can point fight his way through. I like Rocha, a simple 1.2 for 1 unit play. Nothing crazy, but he's the first guy that I actually like on this card. All right, next fight. We don't have to spend too much time here. We have Bia Mesquita, which I have to assume is Portuguese for mosquito because it looks too damn similar not to be, against Irina Alexieva. And no, Irina Alexieva is not favored, despite the name and the consonants and the Russian sounding. Her name is the Russian Ronda or something like that. Look, Mesquita's a minus 520. She's an undefeated prospect, skipping contender series, skipping the Ultimate Fighter because this girl can fucking fight, and she's got submissions. It's a very, very easy Mesquita by sub play at plus 100 if you want to bet it. I don't like betting debuting fighters by props unless they have Bo Nickel level skills, Tom Aspinall level size. I'm not going to do it. But again, if you bet every fight, Mesquita by sub at plus 100, that's her bread and butter. She's a minus 500 favorite. That's what the expectation is. Kong Wong, woman fighter from China who looks awesome, was a minus 600 or so in her debut, and her by KO was a minus number, and she did not. I think she might have lost her debut. So it's not a sure thing. Dad, I'm talking to you. Just because she's minus 500 doesn't mean you take her most likely path to victory for all of your money. But I do think that Mesquita gets the submission here. Alexieva is not a UFC caliber fighter, and she does prefer to wrestle. So I think this is going to be in Mesquita's world the entire fight, just like Mackenzie Dern. If you go down to that mat and you give her 15 minutes, odds are she finds something. I think Mesquita finds something.
I agree and disagree. Firstly, go to Google, look up Alexieva. She's got a chia pet for hair. You could throw some of that my way, but hers is something different. Mesquita. Don't like how she's 34 years old making a UFC debut. Don't like how she's 5'3" at the bantamweight division.
Yeah.
She's winning this fight. She's winning by submission. Really trust her. Think the odds are incredible. Disagree. I think it's as confident as you can be with the submission prop. It's this one. She's got a lot of experience in the BJJ world. That's why she's coming over at this age. This isn't someone that's just like newly found combat sports. She's a submission artist. She's fighting someone that's absolutely horrendous. It's Mesquita by submission, and it's a very confident method play.
I'm a tequila and a half. Fuck it, let's do it. Not Alexieva. What's her name? Mesquita on the slip.
Mosquito.
All right, we met Alexander Romanov when we were in Vegas, when he just got destroyed by who's the big motherfucker? Volkov. Thank you. We love Alexander Romanov. There's something about overweight, puffy white guys who just want to kind of lay on you and bounce on you that we identify with. You like watching people like you. I get that. In walks Thomas Peterson, the country version of Alexander Romanov. And I don't know what it is about this man. I don't like him. He checks every box. Country hillbilly, big old beer gut, probably trains by lifting kegs for his buddy down at the bar, and he likes to just lay on top of you. But I really don't think this man is UFC caliber. Nevertheless, he's going to have the size advantage because Vitor Petrino insists on fighting at the heavyweight division, and he's a minus 300, and Thomas Country Gut, which would be a great nickname, Peterson, is coming in at about a plus 240.
This fight just has something weird's going to happen vibes all over it. Petrino, I'm still not over his loss to Anthony Smith. That one really hurt my feelings. I'm a big Petrino fan. Big power on the feet. Ridiculously strong. Just look at the guy. And he has submissions in his own right. The dude is a really well-built fighter. And he lost to Anthony Smith. I'm not over that. Here in this fight, I don't love the matchup for Petrino unless I know he can defend a takedown. Thomas Peterson will wrestle you, and he will do what Muhammad Usman should do, which is go right at you with the takedown. He's not going to dick around on the feet. Now, he may not go in the first 5 seconds, but he's shooting a takedown here in this fight. I just think if Petrino can stuff the takedown, it's going to be a very bad night for Thomas Peterson because the striking department, Thomas is not good. And Petrino's got insane power. But if he can get Petrino down, that's where the funkiness and weird nonsense could happen here in this fight. I do confidently think Petrino will defend the takedown and potentially get a KO, but not one where I'm putting him in a parlay at this price. I really think it's a Petrino finish by KO bet, just because I'm a touch concerned with defensive grappling, but he really should get it done. If he was a minus 260 instead of a 340, 350, now we're thinking that's parlayable because you only need one other piece. But he's probably going to climb to, I'm guessing, a 340 here in this fight. I like him by KO is probably the avenue that I'm going to be playing it.
Let me just ask you a couple of questions. First and foremost, does Thomas Peterson have any kind of cardio whatsoever?
Not the worst cardio I've seen in the heavyweight division.
No, he sucks ass at cardio. You know what? He sucks more ass than he sucks wind come the second round. First and foremost, who's slower on the feet, Thomas Peterson or Patchy Mix's broke ass?
Patchy Mix. I mean,
Patchy Mix is slower, but it's close. That's some shade to Patchy Mix. The only fight we got wrong last week, we could have had a perfect night if Patchy didn't fuck it up. That's my fault. Hand up accountability. Hand up accountability. I believe that Bellator Patchy was showing up and I was wrong. But legitimately, Thomas Peterson, he's very slow. He is very telegraphed when he shoots, and he typically takes guys to the cage in order to get them down. That's not something that I think is going to work against Petrino, who is very athletic, hyper athletic, and has a very good, strong base where he can, against the cage, spread his feet and Curtis Blades' downward elbow Peterson's cement block of a head. So I think that's a path to victory if Petrino's in a defensive position. If Petrino is actually improved and fights the way we want him to fight, big grain of salt. He's one of these guys who doesn't seem to take a step forward since being in the UFC. But if he does, he could head kick Peterson's head into the third row if he really wanted to. On top of all of that, Petrino can wrestle Peterson. I am not impressed with Thomas Peterson's takedown defense. I know it's at 100%, but he fought Dontel Mays, and Dontel Mays decided to box that time. Whatever. He got knocked the fuck out by Shamil Gaziev in 3 minutes. He fought Mo Usman, who we already talked about. He lost to Jamal Pogues in a fight where Pogues didn't shoot, and he beat a guy named Chandler Core on Contender Series. So Peterson, I don't think, has good takedown defense because, and this is not a joke, he's too top heavy. He's very torso centric, and I think that Petrino can get him down. I love Petrino here. Petrino is my favorite parlay piece on the board, but I'm not putting him with Pilastri. I got a parlay anchor coming up later. I want my anchor with Pilastri for multiple units and my anchor with Petrino for 1 to 2 units. Let's see if I can convince you when we get there, but I think Petrino can win this fight in the first 30 seconds or the last 30 seconds. Peterson's only path to victory is if he wins round 1 with ground control and wins enough of round 2 with ground control, but I think he gasses.
I agree with everything you said. The only thing I'm saying is it's strictly from a pricing standpoint. I did like the note on the strong base. That does lend a lot more confidence than what I had, where I do agree, like, he'll be able to have a strong base, laying downward elbows. I still lean him by KO more because I just don't see. Well, you'll hear your parlay piece. I don't like putting more than 2 people together. I don't want a 3-4 leg parlay.
I agree.
Hardly ever. And for me to play a 2-leg parlay, it has to be max minus 170. So if you have a parlay that can get Petrino and someone else at a minus 170 or better, I'm all for it.
Minus 167.
Well, it fits the bill. We'll find out.
I will say
together. We'll find out.
I will say I was banking on it being a minus 150. I'm not as good at the numbers and the math stuff as you are. So I could be talked into a Petrino finish play and then just going a fuckload of units on my other one. But we'll find out together. As you said, we call that a tease in the business. All right, jokes aside, tequila in the glass. I'm genuinely curious where you're going in this fight. These are two guys that you have had a really good read on for a while, especially one of them. And I've gone back and forth. This is one of the fights that if you don't watch prelims, watch this fight. This Clayton Carpenter minus 120, Rafael Filo plus 115-ish, depending on, or plus 105-ish, excuse me, depending where you're looking. This fight is fascinating from a UFC handicapping perspective. If you don't know Clayton Carpenter, he's a guy that the UFC was really hoping could come in and be a star. He looked really good outside the UFC, and he's got a little bit of swagger to him where he could really be marketable. Meanwhile, the pastor, Rafael Filo, is the guy who nearly armbarred Makayev in his UFC debut. I've never seen a leg bend that way, and Makayev, it was disgusting but impressive. These two guys are two very under-the-radar fighters in their division, and I think it's a fascinating fight at near pick-em odds.
Yeah, I think Carpenter is an incredible prospect. I mean, he's really dangerous and talented everywhere. He's still green. He's still developing. I think the loss to Tagir is going to actually suit him really well moving forward. I think going a full 15 minutes with Tagir way better than he was 3-4 years ago. That's a huge learning curve. And I was initially going the Carpenter route here in this fight somewhat confidently because he's fast. He's young, which means he's going to be evolving. And he's really good everywhere. He's really good on the ground. But Fialho is one of the most best secrets in the UFC. And I'm shocked. I hate that Vegas seems like they're not keeping the secret anymore. The odds, I fully expected Carpenter to be like a 180 here in this fight. Just because I don't think Fialho gets the respect that he deserves. He's an incredibly dangerous guy on the mat. He's big and strong, which helps him on the feet. He's not going to wow you by any stretch of the imagination, but he can put you back and he can grind himself down to a finish or to the ground and do really well there. He fought Nascimento extremely well, and Nascimento is an incredible fighter and one of the biggest flyweights you'll ever see, and Fialho did really well in that fight. I'm leaning the Fialho side just in the sense I'm not sure if Carpenter's aged enough. If this was in 2 years from now, I would take Carpenter a lot more confidently because he's still evolving. He's very green. But Fialho, I do like his veteran ability. He's got double the amount of fights Carpenter has as a professional, and they're relatively similar from a skill set standpoint. I think Fialho's got the ground advantage. Carpenter's got the speed striking advantage. But you put that with the experience of Fialho at more underdog money, I'm going to go that route.
I want to preface my handicap with I do not have a confident play at all because I respect both fighters a lot, but I do have a side that I want to bet. This is a Quentin Johnston bet. If you don't know Quentin Johnston, TCU Horned Frogs, loved him in college. Stuttered a little bit the first couple of years, to put it nicely. And if you believed in him this year, if you planted your flag and said, I still believe that the talent can be figured out, you'd be reaping the reward right now where he's like a top 10 receiver in fantasy football, number one receiver on the Chargers, which is crazy considering who they have. I believe in the talent of Clayton Carpenter, and I believe that we haven't seen it all put together quite yet. The Clayton Carpenter that I expected to come into the UFC, I haven't seen yet. So this is a projection bet as much as it is a confidence bet. The good news is we're getting projection odds. If you were a minus 170, I'm not touching it. But at minus 120, there's a chance that you look back in 3 or 4 years at Clayton Carpenter's fight odds page and go, how did we get him a minus 120 then? Because this wasn't the breakout yet. The breakout hasn't happened. I still believe the breakout, and specifically I like his boxing and his pressure. Fialho was dropped by a liver shot twice in a recent fight. And I think Carpenter's tight boxing against the cage can expose Fialho. At range, Fialho is veteran savvy enough to give Carpenter enough to think about to make it a fight. But if Carpenter can cut the cage, cut an angle, and piece him up against the metal, I think he has a legitimate chance to not only win the fight, but maybe even finish Fieldhoe with a TKO. That's not a confident play because Fieldhoe is a fucking dog. The man can fight, and the man is big. I am putting my chips on the Quentin Johnston prospect, call your shot type of fight. I think this is Carpenter's breakout fight, for lack of a better phrase here. So for me, I'd like to play one unit on Carpenter, but I'm not going to hammer the table. When I put all my plays out, I kind of knew where you might go, where you would go. This was number 6 for me. We typically play 5. This was number 6. If I can convince you to go for it, I'm in. But
yeah,
that's where I'm at right now.
I love the comparison, and you're probably not going to get better odds on him for a while. But I'm on the Fiala side.
Sorry, my wife walked downstairs. I got distracted. Be distracted by your wives, husband. Be better husbands. And fiancés, for that matter, Joe. Be distracted by Sarah. All right, next fight. Yeah, that's right. Ladies, he's off the market if we didn't mention that before. Speaking of which, I'm drunk, and you know what? We're going to talk about this. What's up with the Penn State sweatshirt?
I'm glad you said something. Here's a few things.
This has been bothering me.
I wanted to remind people. I did a live bet on camera last week. That live bet cashed. And then 2, I just would have had. We hear 9.7 units. I would have had like a 20 plus something unit play if Penn State just would have won the game. Now I was live betting them. Number 2, number 3. This is wrestling. This is not football. They play Northwestern this week.
That was my thing.
A little cautionary tale. That's all.
They're gonna kill him. I like the over in the game. Next fight, we got the namesake, the best name in the UFC, Michael Aswell. And if you are a friend of Beverly Hills Cop, you can pronounce it as Aswell. And if you don't get that reference, watch better movies. Minus 150 against Lucas Almeida at a plus 125 here. What do you like? What do you think? What do you see?
This is, I swear, Nick Maynard they know what my notes are, and it drives me nuts. So here's why it drives me nuts. Aswell, he's very young. He's really only a boxer. Doesn't really show a ton of MMA skills. I don't see many guys in the UFC that he can beat. That's kind of like the notes that I have. I'm not an Almeida guy, and that's my thing. Almeida, a lot of UFC experience, and he can be funky, and he is a UFC caliber fighter. He's just not my kind of guy. But I'm going to trust my notes. I'm just going to go the Almeida side just because I don't love the Aswell lack of depth of the MMA skills that I've seen thus far in his 2 fights. One was Dana Contender Series, and the other one was against Oki, which he actually did decent in that fight. I'm going to go with the funk of Almeida here to get this thing done. And it's a bet against Aswell.
So we normally don't do fade spots unless it's a plus number. So that checks the box here. Let me ask you genuinely, because you got a better read on Aswell than I do. Talk about his wrestling and his grappling a little bit. Do you have any kind of insight in his wrestling and his grappling? I
see minimal. Like I think I wrote down.
He hasn't even shot a takedown. Oh, this is a fucking Lucas Almeida fight if I've ever seen one here.
I said he has some boxing, but didn't show a ton of other MMA skills, and that's just what I've seen. Like he hasn't shown anything in like 2 fights. I just haven't seen it.
Let me talk about Lucas Almeida. Lucas Almeida is Ludwig Klein, but the Roundies edition here. Lucas Almeida is a snappy, athletic kickboxer. He's going to look athletic and fun. If you saw this guy punching a heavy bag, primarily kicking a heavy bag, you'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? Give him a belt right now. He offensively looks really good. Now, if you've only seen his most recent fight, you think I'm full of shit over here. He looked terrible last time out. He was stiff, lethargic, complacent. Looked like he didn't know what he was doing, didn't know his ass from his elbow. That's a Sugarland reference. Shout out to Dad. He looked awful offensively his last time out, but typically this guy is an electric striker who's able to put on 70-plus strikes a fight and do it with dynamicism. But he tends to lose because he gets wrestled. He lost to Danny Silva because he was wrestled. He lost to Andre Fili because he just got knocked the fuck out. And he lost to Pat Sabatini and Daniel Zellhuber because he was wrestled. But when Timothy Kawamba is what he used to go by, and Michael Scherzano couldn't get the wrestling going, and Almeida was able to kickbox and Muay Thai Rafael Fiziev fight, he looked good. So as long as Almeida is not a bag of dog shit again like he was last time out, I think that this is a striking first fight. Almeida's the better striker. So unless Aswell comes out and shows a grappling game, which he has not proven to be able to do here, I thought Almeida should be favored. Moderately favored, minus 120, 130, but favored. So I like Lucas Almeida here at a plus number because I think the wrong man is favored in what I expect to be a close but fun scrap. We talked about scrapping before the fight started, and I think Almeida is the better fighter in a scrap.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm just looking for more. Like, about like you see what Dana, you're gonna see it tonight. Dana McKenzie is on right now. So sometimes you just like you want to see more out of a fighter, and I just haven't seen it. With
and last thing I'll say, Lucas Almeida's got the higher ceiling. If Lucas Almeida actually clicks, this guy could he can be really impressive. I don't think it's going to click in his career though. All right, next fight we have Ricardo Ramos, one of the most frustrating fighters in the UFC. Because the guy can do I'll let you break him down because you've always had good notes on him. Minus 185 against Con Offley at a plus 155.
This fight, I mean, you sort of teeing it up. This is Ricardo Ramos's fight to lose. Offley he fought the Ultimate Fighter. Offley is really solid everywhere. I mean, the dude's got like just out of a MMA school technique on the feet. He's a solid grappler, both on offensive and defensively. The dude is just solid everywhere, but he's not special in any one component. That's why he's struggled when he gets up to that upper echelon of the UFC level caliber guy. But I really do like Offley. And there's a reason why he's only Ramos is only a minus 180, because Offley will win this fight if Ramos fucks it up. I mean, there's really only that way of saying it. Ramos is the higher end fighter here. Ramos is almost the antithesis of Offley. Ramos has high end skill sets, but boy, does he lack sound. I'm not going to say technique, but just sound decision making. Something always can go slightly off, but if everything clicks, Ramos is the significantly more dangerous fighter here in this fight. It's kind of like the Quinton Johnson thing, bringing that back up again. If you want to bet on the talent, if you want to bet on if this guy shows up to the octagon right, Ramos wins this fight. If you want to bet that this guy is just too inconsistent, I've been burned in the past. Offley will win this fight if Ramos screws it up. I'm gonna tend to go on the side of the more talented guy, the guy that I do believe can go out there on his best day. He's definitely gonna win it. I like Ramos here in this fight because I have yet to be burned by him. And because of that, I'm trusting him. I'm trusting the talent over Offley.
Yeah, give me Ramos, Yamos, whatever the hell his name is here. Look, Ricardo should win this fight. As you said, he's the better fighter. To speak to his stupidity in the cage, he was whooping Julian Erosa's ass for 2 minutes and got caught in the guillotine. He was whooping Charles Jourdain's ass, Mr. I Can't Wrestle, for 3 minutes and got caught in the guillotine. Ricardo Ramos finds ways to lose. But my goodness, he's like a Brazilian Walmart Marab. He goes 100 miles an hour, lots of takedowns. He is an athletic, powerful fighter who can look amazingly good. And Offley is your Kevin Joussetsa back in the day. Just steady Eddie, don't fuck up. Give me Ramos. I'm not going to parlay him. I'm willing to lay the 180. I don't want to play a method because I do think that Offley, giving him the respect he deserves, is defensively sound enough to defend submissions. So I think that we're down to one method of victory, and I'm not willing to lay one method of victory in a prop. So I'm willing to lay the 180. I'm expecting a takedown heavy approach from Ramos. So if you play Prize Picks, anything over 1.5, I love it. 2.5, I expect Ramos to get takedowns early, and we'll see what he does. But you never know what this guy's going to do. So I'm willing to lay Ramos. We'll see if it makes our final bet slip. Trusting a guy like him is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it at minus 190 already. I'd love it at a 170. 20 cents doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of the long haul, you definitely don't want to be laying 190s out there, especially on a guy that's as untrustworthy as him. I like him when some of the components we've said. I like him with Palastri by decision. You'd get plus money on that bet, and I like the idea of having plus money on a Ramos side. So that's sort of the avenue that I'm leaning is Palastri by decision parlayed with Ramos. You'll get plus money on it, which I like.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to concede to you on this one here because Just like you do over at certain bars, you read the big boys well. We have Gervonta Deniz at a -120 against Mario Pinto coming in at +100. What do you see? What do you like? What do you know?
This is a good fight. Expect it to be extremely slow until it's not. Pinto and then Dana White Contender Series was unbelievably patient. I believe he fought someone decently touted too.
I'll look it up.
Very patient. Looked like absolutely nothing. Like I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? Pinto's supposed to win this fight. He was fighting someone decently dangerous, but Pinto was supposed to win the fight. Like this guy looks like ass. Then all of a sudden the man threw a check left hook and he dropped his opponent like a sack of potatoes. So he has legit power. I don't like betting guys that have that type of patience. Obviously, heavyweights in the UFC, you have power. I just don't like the patience. I really like Gervonta Deniz here in this fight. He's going to be more active. He has the UFC experience. He is a very experienced striker. I think he came over from kickboxing. I actually think he can grapple Pinto. I think Deniz, when you're in the UFC for this, as long as Deniz has been, which has been several fights now, not saying he's a 20-fight UFC vet, he will be able to put that UFC pressure on Pinto. Really, really, really like him. Probably one of my favorite bets on the board is Gervonta Deniz. From a skill set standpoint, I think it aligns really well with Deniz. And then you get that experience plus the odds that you're getting Deniz at even money. I really like it.
Yeah, I think Pinto would have been better served to fight a Tafa brother, someone who's going to bide their time, take their time, swing big, and see which big boy drops first. I think Deniz is a legitimate technical striker where Pinto is a patient brawler. And then I love what you brought up. I think Deniz can grapple him too here. I think that if Deniz gets rocked, but not like really rocked, I think that he can defensively grapple, even if it's just a clinch. I think he's got a better ability to control his faculties when getting rocked. I don't think Pinto has a path to recover if things go awry here. And I don't like betting guys, as you said, who are so patient. I like Deniz, which is something I have not said in his UFC career. I don't like this fighter. I don't like his skill set as a whole, but I love the matchup here for him. I think this is a tailor-made matchup. Fighting is all about matchups. Deniz should win this fight the way he chooses, as long as he doesn't leave something open. The 260-pound man with 4-ounce gloves. Outside of that, I think Deniz rolls here.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, like, Pinto has fought once against Austin Lane. I really don't give much credence to that in the UFC. Like, it helps to have go through the fight week and all that stuff. I don't give a lot of credence to that. Deniz has fought Marcin Tybura. I know he lost to him, but like, the guy's got a lot of high-end experience. It's an incredible bet. Whether or not it comes to fruition or not, it's a great bet.
Yep. All right, next fight. I mean, do you remember the forehead?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to remember the forehead. I have not seen a cut that deep. Like a fucking Grand Canyon. Joel Alvarez, Grand Canyon, a motherfucking forehead. Not his own, somebody else's. I'm drawing a blank on who it is. Joel Alvarez coming in at a -500. And at one time, top 3 chin, both aesthetically and functionally in the UFC. We have Vicente Luque at a +380.
Can't believe Luque is only 33. This fight, I'm happy Alvarez is moving up to 170 because I want to see him more. He's an incredibly fun fighter, absurdly big for the lightweight division. I mean, that's why he's. I mean, the guy's cutting probably 35 pounds to make lightweight after losing probably 10 pounds of actual weight. It's absurd. Glad he's moving up. Hopefully that increases his frequency of fighting. The dude's incredible. I mean, he's a really dangerous guy. Big power on the feet. Very good. Very high-end grappling. Luque, I mean, I hate to. I think he's done. I think the odds are reflective of that. These odds are heavily like priced. I mean, 550 is a lot. I don't see a ton of avenues to lessen that price. Curious to see where you're going on this, but this is an Alvarez play. Alvarez, I'm not scared that he's making his welterweight debut. He's going to be a big welterweight. I forgot what guy moved up. There's a guy that moved up where he maintained his size. Oh, Michel Pereira. Yeah. Michel Pereira. I think it's going to be similar. He's still going to be a big welterweight. Not worried about the move up. It's Alvarez here.
Was that Vin Diesel driving by a second ago? Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, no, dude, Joe Alvarez is a fucking beast. If you don't know who Joe Alvarez is, then you need to do yourself a favor and watch this fight. The man is violence personified when he is on, and there are very few times that he is not on. It's just, it's impressive what he's able to do with his striking and his grappling combined. And as you said, Vicente Luque is just, he's done. The man has been in too many wars. Justin Gaethje's going to get there one day, which breaks my heart. But guys like that who have relied on their chin to survive and then let their offense thrive eventually hit a wall, and Luque hit that wall a year and a half ago. He can still outpoint, outwin, out-veteran guys. Joel Alvarez is not a guy that you can just go in there and win because you are more crafty than he is. Joel Alvarez is a legitimate top 10 in any division he chooses to be in or any division he can make. I really believe the talent is there. Give me Joel Alvarez as my choo-choo parlay anchor of the week. Him with Pilastri is the minus 165 I talked about earlier. I'm willing to go, I mean, just heavy. Pilastri is, I'll get you the exact numbers, but I think, or Petrino, excuse me. Yeah, him and Pilastri, unfortunately, is like a minus 225. So what I would do is I would take Pilastri decision with Alvarez and then Petrino with Alvarez. It's
good.
It's not a ridiculous number at minus 500, but it's also not a bad parlay piece. I think he rolls here. Let me take a look at his submission prop. Plus 190. It's not worth it because KO's plus 170. Vegas is expecting a finish and they're hedging their sides. Just give me him in parlays. If you are someone who plays opens, play him in opens. I'm willing to get up to 5 units on Alvarez here. I don't think that Luque is anything for him. I love Joel Alvarez in this fight. And on top of all that, I think he'll be the bigger guy.
Yeah, I'm not a 5-unit confident on it, but I definitely like the Alvarez with Petrino. I mean, if you're telling me that's under 170 price on the payout, that's the avenue that I like. I agree.
All right, so I need to take a back seat here because there's a couple of guys each of us have called before, right? We have called people over the course of the year. I think the namesake one is Tom Aspinall. Came on my TikTok today where, well, we're going to get there in a second. I think the number one guy is Tom Aspinall, where came on my TikTok the other day. It was just Tom Aspinall's fights. It was just a compilation of them. And I said, the poofy, it looked like your hair in that first fight against Jake Collier. I mean, what the fuck happened? How is that legally allowed? I said, this guy's going to be a champ. And you've called JDM. We've each called guys. I mean, Arman and Islam, you called. Not that those were overly impressive. Your JDM one was more impressive. But Montel Jackson is a guy that I called as if the man would fight 2 times a fucking year. I think he could hold the belt. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's disrespectful to the champion. I think he could fight for the belt in his career. And I called that 6 fights ago. But for this man to be a minus 300 against UFC Hall of Famer Davison Figueiredo, who seamlessly transitioned into the bantamweight division, I am floored by the odds here. And I might be the biggest Montel Jackson fan, who I'll leave the adjectives to describe myself to your own imagination here in contrast to who Montel Jackson is. I love the man. I love the fighter, but minus 300, you got to talk to me, Joe.
I see the same way. I think Montel Jackson, I mean, the dude's got incredible hands, good offensive wrestling. He's, like you're saying, I mean, I agree with everything. I think he's a top 10 guy. I mean, no doubt about it. He shouldn't be this big of, he's not top 5. He's
top 5. I'll Google you talk.
Take it off my head. I don't need no Google. It's bantamweight division. I kind of like, I know it's going on 2 years removed. Kind of feels like a Figgy versus Rob Font type of fight to me. Now, Jackson's got much higher end power than Rob Font, but they're kind of similar in the sense that they're boxing predominant with good offensive wrestling. But it wouldn't shock me if Figgy can wrestle Montel Jackson. It's too good a value to not take Figgy in his native Brazil against the guy that has nowhere near the experience that Figgy does. I have no problem putting 1 unit on Figgy, and Montel goes out there and performs to the high-end ability that we see him to be. but it's the value's too great to ignore. You got to go Figgy on it with a unit.
So my heart is screaming parlay Montel Jackson. I've called this man to be top 5, to have a shot at the belt in his career. I don't like this matchup for him. I don't think Figgy is a guy that Montel Jackson can bully. I don't think he's a guy that he can go out there and implement power that Figgy can't return back his way. Nor do I think that Montel is a guy that can go in there and wrestle Figgy without fear of some kind of submission, a.k.a. or similar to Chimaev and Gilbert Burns. When you go down to the mat with a guy like Figgy or Gilbert Burns and that, no matter how good of a wrestler you are, Chimaev, fucking amazing, and Montel Jackson, very impressive, not Chimaev quite level, you have things you need to worry about. I think Figgy has far too many paths to victory that this line does not account for. So personally, this is my one Jason Williams of the week. This is my one pass, because as a fan, I'm going to be rooting for Montel Jackson. And therefore, I cannot bet on Figgy. But if I am objectively handicapping, this line is way off. I thought Montel Jackson should be a minus 190. This line is significantly off to me. I would put one unit on Figgy if I were objectively advising plays. But as a fan, I just can't do it because I want Jackson versus Arnold Allen one day. That fight would make me just too excited to be allowed near like certain zones in your area. I would just be too excited if I saw that fight come across my Twitter. I want to see Montel Jackson top 5. I don't like the odds here. I could be somewhat talked into a one-unit play on Figgy, but I'm telling you, my heart's going to be something you got to overcome.
Well, you're not going to see Montel Jackson versus Arnold Allen in 2 different divisions, but you might if Montel Jackson goes up because he's plenty big.
That was the point. He has talked about going up before. I'm not that drunk.
I think your fandom is scaring you. Like I said, I'm not moving off of my hill that I think there's value on Figgy. I'd met Montel Jackson like a minus 225 favorite. So the fact that you're getting plus 240, 250 on Figgy, I mean, there's significant value. But it's a great matchup for Montel Jackson. You look at the bantamweight division. If you think he's top 5, you better be able to beat Figgy. You're not beating Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen, Sugar Sean O'Malley, Marab, Umar. You're not beating these guys if you can't beat Figgy. Montel Jackson will have the significant size advantage. You're saying he could potentially move up to featherweight? Figgy, albeit, yes, he is a bantamweight. The guy fought at flyweight for the vast majority of his career. Big size disparity. He's going to have massive reach advantage. Your reasons not to bet Montel Jackson feel like you're coming from a fandom perspective of being burnt in the past, not from an avenue of unbiased, I think Figgy can win.
Well, that's not burnt in the past. Montel Jackson, I had a lot of money against Damon Blackshear. He knocked him out like in 18 seconds.
Or just general fandom.
I got plenty of Montel money to put on him here. I'm going to be honest, I didn't look at the props. I like Montel by decision at plus 115. I thought that was going to be a heavier minus number. I thought that was going to be a minus 140 to 160. Montel by decision would be my play here. Respecting what Figgy can do defensively, respecting his chin and respecting his submission game to deter Montel's wrestling. I would play Montel by decision at a plus number. I didn't think we'd get a plus number on that bet. Technically, that's not available on DraftKings or FanDuel. That's a bet online bet played right now, so maybe it is a minus number come domestic books. You're right. I'm a little bit scared. I don't love to put a ton of money on the boys I love, unless it's Tom Aspinall, hence why he's number 1. I get a little bit scared because I'm rooting for him so much. I don't think this fight's going to make our final slip here.
No, it's not. It's not going to make our final slip, but I'm just saying that a little pushback up for any person that kind of like is a fandom of someone. It's hard to remove that bias. You should try to remove that bias, but your bias was coming from a place of fear, not from a place of analysis. So if I was you, I'd ride with your boy, but I'm still taking the Figgy side.
That's fair. I appreciate the self-help there, Dr. Phil. Dr. Fill a cup up. All right, next fight. You remember the movie Man on a Ledge?
Yes.
So if those of you who haven't seen it, short synopsis, guy's on a ledge. He's acting like he's going to commit suicide to try to draw the cops to him so that people can go and his crew can go rob a bank. Really good movie that a lot of people haven't heard about. Same with Phone Booth. Similar concept.
Very good.
Right. Both Man on a Ledge and Phone Booth. Go watch them. Good movies. I need you to talk me off of this ledge here. Because what I'm looking at, I got 3 plays in the same fight. They're all correlated. Yeah, you just saw what I saw. I see the look. You're not talking me off the ledge here. You're jumping off with me. We're going to Thelma and Louise this bitch here. I got 3 plays that are all correlated. And when you hit a correlated play, meaning that all of the fight goes the way you expect, so all three plays hit, you can make some big money. But if one thing goes wrong, your life could be fucking exploded here. You take one step off the ledge too far, you're fucked here. But Do Bronx is an underdog in Brazil against the guy we think is the most overrated fighter in his division, Mateusz Gamrot, who's still very good, but I think he's overrated. Do Bronx is a slight underdog at a minus 105, and Gamrot at a minus 115, 120.
Well, Gamrot is an incredible wrestler with demonstrated cardio and has sneaky power on the feet, but he's a really, really good wrestler. With that said, I couldn't agree more. It's Oliveira side. I almost always, I'm not going to like say always and go the opposite way. I almost always side with the wrestler, and particularly one that is extremely talented. But Oliveira, I mean, it's just like a Dustin Poirier 2.0. It's these guys that just because they can't beat the number one person, they beat everybody else. Oliveira, when he almost beat Arman Tsarukyan, even though he lost the fight, he almost beat Arman Tsarukyan. And not doing MMA math. Arman beat Gamrot, whatever. Arman's a lot more talented than Gamrot is, and Oliveira looked good in that fight. Oliveira's got immense power. I think Oliveira can get this thing done on the feet by KO. I think Oliveira can get this thing done on the mat by submission. I think Oliveira can wrestle Gamrot potentially. Unlikely, because Gamrot is one of the best scramblers and wrestlers in the UFC. But I really like the Oliveira side at these odds. It's in his native Brazil. It's an immense value. It's definitely a bet now bet for me. I do not expect it. I expect the public, similar to Pereira last week, to come on Oliveira. It's an Oliveira play all day. All day.
All right, so Mateusz Gamrot, the man is a basic boxer, although he's technically sound, and I do like his wrestling, although I think his scrambling is better than his actual offensive wrestling. Charles Oliveira has lost to wrestlers. Those wrestlers are Ilia Topuria, kind of. That was more of a, I mean, he's a fucking lethal assassin who can do everything, and there was no wrestling involved. Arman Tsarukyan and Islam. End of list. Did Mateusz Gamrot change his name to a Nurmagomedov and I don't know about it? Because that's not what I'm seeing here. He beat Michael Chandler, Benny Dariush, who actually reminds me of Mateusz Gamrot, Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, Ferguson, blah, 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 blah. Mateusz Gamrot's best win is Fisev, who had an off night. Technically, he beat Arman. I still don't allow that to be a win.
Me neither.
Look, so what I'm scared here. So I'm scared. I need you to help me here, Joe. We don't typically do well with main events, although we knocked the Pereira one out of the park last week. Mm-hmm. I love Charles, and I think Gamrot might be the most overrated fighter in the top 5 of any division. Granted, he's still very good. I want to put a stupid amount of money here on Charles. So I like Charles money line for 2 units. Charles submission plus 275, which I think is ridiculous as a unit. I like under 3.5 at pick 'em odds as a unit. But I told myself, when you're sober here, you need to just pick one. Don't play a correlated play in UFC. It's not the Super Bowl, which is a whole different style of betting. We'll talk about that later one day. I don't want to get cute, but I do want to have a lot of units on Charles. So do you want to take the Charles heavier unit side on money line, the middle median unit side on submission, or the safer side under 3.5? Because I don't think I've seen a Charles fight go the distance in a while. I know he has, but it's been a minute. Which one is speaking to you? Because I think all three are bettable. Moneyline, submission at plus 275, under 3.5 at pick 'em odds. I think all three hit personally. What do you like?
Yeah, I definitely like Oliveira moneyline is hands down number one. I don't love doing what you're suggesting doing. I don't mind under 3.5. But I'll play Charles Oliveira inside the distance more than that. I really don't expect Gamrot to get a finish. And
I'm not saying I don't want to play all three. I want to pick one. I'm asking you which one you like.
Oliveira money line. It's not even close.
Okay.
Just I like a 3 unit play on him.
So how many nuts you thinking?
I think 3. I like 3.
Yeah. I typed 3. I like 3. Look,
yeah. I think don't overthink it. It's one of those things like just try and I think real quick going back to Dariush one. I know it ended fast, but it's a similar thing. Oliveira coming off an Islam loss, fighting Dariush, similar odds. Not that long ago, Oliveira goes out there and dominates. I do think Ganmon's better than Dariush. I'm not a Dariush fan. Oliveira coming off an Ilia Topuria loss in devastating fashion. First fight back, you're getting good. I think you're getting good value on Oliveira. If this fight happened before the Ilia fight, I expect Oliveira to be a minus 180, 190. So I think you're getting immense value.
This is reminding me of Gilbert Burns, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, where we thought the odds were just flat out wrong. That doesn't happen very often, where we think, especially in a main event, co-main event, main card, where the odds are wrong. Vegas does not build those casinos because their odds are wrong. I think the odds are wrong here. I'm going to go heavier than 3 personally. We don't typically advise that on PTL, but I got to let you know now, I'm going heavier than 3. I think Charles gets back into title contention conversation with a highlight reel viral win here.
Yeah, this is one of those things. I'm right there with you. I'm fine going 4. It's one of those things you got to trust the look ahead number. Knowing Vegas definitely values, similar like me, they value the wrestler in most fights. They're definitely closer odds than one would initially expect. This is a short-term reaction in conjunction with the wrestler. Oliveira's a higher-end fighter. It is native Brazil. He should be a minus 180, 190. It's great value. I like 3 to 4 units on it.
Fantastic. All right, so what we got for fights then? What we got for PTL plays? We're not going to talk specific unit management. Follow us on Twitter. I post all of our plays at Pound the Lines. Follow us on betmma.tips. I post all of our stuff there, especially early because Charles's number is going to move. But in terms of just plays, we like Pilastri decision parlayed with Alvarez. That is a minus 120.
Yep.
We like Petrino parlayed with Alvarez, minus 165. A little rich for my blood, but I like it. Rocha, minus 120. Mesquita sub, plus 120. Lucas Almeida, plus 125. Jahanta Deniz, minus 120. Dubronx, money line.
Yeah, I mean, I like. I said at the beginning, it gets better and builds as the card goes on. I like a lot. All the straight plays I really like confident. Not saying we're doing more than 1 unit on Rocha, but probably my most confident plays are those single plays. And then I do love the parlays. I guess I love everything. I mean, sounds good. Sounds good.
Plus 9.7 units last week. We got some money to burn. Money to burn. All right. Follow us all on all the Twitter, social fears, and all that good fun stuff here at Pound the Lines. PTL if you're nasty. We'll post everything out here. We're here to cash some bets, pound some lines. We do what we do. Northwestern, unfortunately, not going to cover against Penn State, but I do like the over in the game.
I like the over too. Northwestern's offense is improving. Penn State offense was not the issue last week. I like Penn State team total over. Even though Penn State's defense should have a little less embarrassment and they should play better, Northwestern's improving. I like the over in the game.
All right. Pound lines and cash tickets. And click.